My name's Lexi Andrea. I'm from Towson, Maryland, and I'm a psychology major at McDaniel. My senior capstone research was on the relationship between disability identity and psychological well-being. So when people think about disabilities, they usually think of physical impairments or sometimes intellectual disabilities like autism, but disability is actually defined much more broadly, and so that might lead people to have disability but not necessarily identify as disabled. So disability identity then can be described as a person's tendency or ability to identify with their disability or sort of label themselves as disabled. So my hypothesis was that among those with a disability, those who identified as disabled would experience more psychological well-being, so higher self-esteem, more life satisfaction, less depression, and more positive attitudes towards their own disability status and also disability communities than those who did not identify with their disability. So while results did not directly support that hypothesis, I found correlational results that sort of suggest that more positive attitudes towards disability are related to more positive psychological well-being. So a positive idea about your own disability is sometimes related to higher self-esteem for that population. These results seem to carry clinical significance, especially when considering treatment for this population. It might be important to sort of foster positive ideas about one's own disability and maybe encourage them to integrate into disability communities, and that might yield higher self-esteem, life satisfaction, and less depression. More research seems important on this topic, especially since results of my study didn't necessarily support my hypotheses. It might be important to look at other factors that might contribute to whether or not someone identifies as disabled, sort of the negative connotations or stigma associated with disability status. But yeah, all in all, more research seems important to determine these relationships that were found. Next steps for me would be after I graduate from McDaniel, I'm going to attend University of Maryland for their master's program in clinical psychological science. And then afterwards, I hope to pursue a PhD in clinical psychology. And then long term, I would like to be a practicing psychologist and still conduct some research.